Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm very excited to bring you today's topic. My name is Jessica. I'm one of the trainers here at EZFacility. I've been with the company for about a year and a half, so definitely have some experience here. Joining us on the call, we have Mike, who is our training team lead, and we have Emma, who is a customer specialist in the UK team. And they're going to be in our Q&A and our chat to help answer any questions throughout the webinar. On that note, we do have a Q&A feature and a chat feature in this Zoom webinar, so you can definitely ask your questions in there, and they'll be able to answer them throughout this webinar. And we would prefer that you use the Q&A, but if you can't find it, the chat will be just fine. We are going to ask that your questions do pertain to today's topic. Any other questions that you might have, you could go ahead and reach out to either our account management teams. You'll see their email addresses here on the screen, or you can contact our support team for any technical type issues. You'll also see their contact information on the screen as well. So today's topic is going to be rentals from a staff member's point of view. There are going to be two different ways of doing rentals within EZFacility. One way we refer to as true rentals using rental rates and rental types. And the second way is going to be what we call rentals as packages, where you use rentals through packages and have your clients book into them. One main reason why you might use packages instead of using true rentals would be if you needed to include a specific amount of rental time with each of your memberships. As of right now, the only way to do that is going to be through packages. The other reason you might use it is if you have very specific times that you want people to be able to rent, you will put your availability on the calendar for them to rent, and then from there, they'll be able to purchase a package and they'll be able to book into that rental. As an agenda today, I will be showing you first how to add a client into the software. I'll show you how to book a true rental on the calendar, and then we will also talk about how to remove that rental from the calendar. If somebody needed to cancel and they gave you enough notice, and how we would go ahead and do that. We're also going to show you how to do those rentals as packages, how you would, as a staff member, book someone in, sell them a package, all of that type stuff. So let's go ahead and we're going to get into the software. Now, here I have our login page for EZFacility. As you can see, it is going to be the main website here. Off to the right, I do just want to point out we have some important announcements that we like to post on this page so that everyone can see them. We're going to be at the US Indoor. If you have anybody that wants to attend, we are giving out the promo code in order to include a discount. So when you use the login page, just keep an eye out. Sometimes we do put announcements and such on this page. But as a staff member, you'll go ahead and put in your username and password that was provided to you by your manager. And we're going to go ahead and log in. So today we are logged in under our Nicole Smith profile. Nicole has the role of staff member, and this is a default in our system. I have not changed any of her permissions. Everything is as it comes when you first start with EZFacility. Now, a manager is going to be able to customize those permissions and give you more or less permissions depending upon what the business needs. You'll know if you are a staff member because if you click on administration, the only things you have access to are going to be packages, you'll have documents here, and you'll have billing. You are very limited even in these sections what you can do on a normal basis, but that is how you kind of know that you are a staff member. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our clients in white. And we're going to go ahead and add in a new client here for this webinar. We're going to go ahead and fill in the different fields that are required. A manager is going to set these up. We're going to put in a first name, and we're going to put in a last name. Now, there are no other fields currently that are required, but when we are typing in the email address, we do want to make sure that we click the plus sign in order to add it to the profile. If we didn't click on the plus sign, then it would not add it to the profile, and instead we would have to go back in and enter it in all over again. We then scroll all the way down to the bottom and we add that client. If we missed any particular fields, it's going to let us know, hey, you missed a field. You'll go back through and you will enter in any of that missing information. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the schedule. And we're going to say that this person is going to want to go ahead and they're going to rent one of our fields. So they are going to rent today. They called in and they're going to start at 2 o'clock today and they're going to rent the baseball field. Now, if they're renting more than one resource, you can use the dots to be able to select both resources at the same time and they can rent both of them. In our case, we're going to just put a basic one on here and say they're just renting the baseball field at 2 o'clock today. We're going to go ahead and click 2. We are then going to choose in the middle, it says rental. We see right now it says bay rental, but we're going to choose from the drop down and make sure that we say field rental instead. We're now going to go ahead and choose the end time of that rental. So our field rental starts at 2 o'clock. Let's say they want to rent it for 2 hours. You can use the number keys on your keyboard to be able to select something further down, or you can scroll down and click. I'm going to say he's going to rent it for 2 hours. Now, we talked about packages last time. A major difference here is going to be, again, that end time isn't going to choose automatically. You are going to have to choose an end time here. And when you click on search for an existing client, you do have to put a client's name in order to put a rental on the calendar. So we're going to go ahead and search for that client that we just entered in. The next thing to do is we're going to need to choose a template. So we're going to find the one that says field rental. Now, you should choose a template. Your managers have gone ahead, they've set up all of the templates so that they're ready to go, and all you have to do is choose that template. You shouldn't go through and put in your own amount or have to do any kind of calculations at the time of the rental. Instead, you should just be able to go ahead and choose that template. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Add to Cart. And we see that we have technically two options on the screen, but in most cases, I'm going to say that there's really only one option. You don't want to leave the items in cart because if you leave the items in cart, it goes to an uninvoiced items section. In the uninvoiced item section, then you have to find it and then put it on an invoice. And then sometimes it can get forgotten, it can get lost, and you realize a couple months down the road that you never went ahead and charged Mike for this rental. So instead, I always suggest going ahead and creating a invoice, even if you're not applying a payment right away. At least have that invoice ready to go on the client's profile, and they can pay for it when they come in for their rental. They can pay for it on self-service, but always, always, always generate that invoice. Now, there are ways of combining invoices. So if you're doing rentals on different days and you want to go ahead and be able to combine two invoices together, you do have the option of doing that, but definitely generate that invoice. We're going to go ahead and choose that single new invoice. It's going to show that field rental on here. Now we can add a payment right away by clicking over here on the left where it says add payment. We could click done if this person isn't paying until they actually come in for their rental. And that's going to be set up based upon your facility and how they want to run things. The other options that are on here in the upper right-hand side, The receipt paper, if you have a receipt printer attached to your computer, you could print out the little receipt and hand it to them if they're there in the building. And this is going to be on any invoice, all three of these buttons. PDF, if you have a full-size printer attached to your computer and you want to print out a full sheet of the actual invoice, you could go ahead and click on PDF. The final one is an email icon. If a person has a valid email address on file, you could go ahead and email them a copy of this invoice. I'm going to go ahead and apply a payment. Now, most people are going to have different options in here to go ahead and process the payment. Anyone who has merchant processing turned on is going to see credit card processed. If we choose credit card processed, we'll see that there are fields to fill in with the card number, expiration date, name on the card, CVN number. You're also going to be able to see the billing address. Now, normally the billing address will auto-populate if you already have it on the profile. In our case, we don't have an address on the profile, which is why it's not showing up here. If there is a credit card already on file for this person, if we had already saved that, then it would be in here. If your admins have decided that you have the option to save the credit card for future payments, you'll see this button here where the client can say, I don't want this credit card saved for future payments, or I do, and you'll check the box appropriately. In our case, I'm going to go ahead and mark this as cash. Just to go through the rest of them, a check can be put in. When you put in a check, I do suggest as best practice that you put in the memo line the check number. The check is still going to need to be taken to the bank and deposited, but this way you're able to match up that invoice with the check. We do have billing code, account credit, and bank transfer as other options as well. Now, if you have ACH turned on your account, you'll see other options in here. If you have an EMV terminal and you want that EMV terminal available, that will also be in here as well. For our webinar purposes, we're just going to go ahead and mark this as cash, and we're going to say take payment. Now I'm going to go ahead and email this invoice to myself. It says it's gone ahead and been emailed. When I get that email, I'll go ahead and bring that over. Oh, looks like it already came through. So you'll see here, it just says attach this email is your invoice. Here's the invoice number. Now, this is going to be customizable by your admins. This email could look different for each facility depending upon what your admins have written in here. If we click on this invoice, we're going to be able to view it. The logo up here is going to be the one for your facility. Mine just shows EZFacility because that is what's on my demo account. We'll see over here that it shows the first and last name of the client and it shows their email address. It shows what it is that they're paying for and the payment that was applied. Once they have looked over that invoice, we can go ahead and click Done. And we see that the rental is added to the calendar. Now, when we are doing rentals like this, it's only going to be one main person that's going to be joining this rental that's paying for it. So, in other words, think of this as there's a coach out there that you just have the facility, the coach is renting the baseball field from you. It's not that there's going to be a long list of people that he's going to bring with him, or if he is, you don't really care. It's just the coach playing for this rental. Now, let's say that we have somebody in the future, maybe they want to rent every Wednesday in the month of March, or maybe March into April, and we will need to put a reoccurring pattern here on the calendar. How do we do that? We're going to go ahead and say, again, we're going to go into our baseball field here. Actually, let's do our softball field here. He's going to rent it at 3 o'clock for every Wednesday, so we're going to click in at 3 o'clock. We're going to go to rental again. We're going to choose field rental. We're going to say he's going to end at 5 o'clock. And now we need to talk about the reoccurring pattern. So we're going to click on the word optional. The pattern up here is defaulted to single entry. We need to change that. In our case, the pattern is going to be weekly because we're going to run it every day on the same week. But you do also have the option of daily if they're renting the same time every day, monthly if they're renting once a month for a couple of months, yearly if they rent the same space yearly. So you have all of the options in here to choose from. You are not going to change anything from start date down to public title. All of that is just pulling the information from the first section. Instead, down here where it says on these days, if they needed to rent more than one day a week, maybe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you would check on the boxes for Monday and Friday. It is very important not to uncheck the box for the day of the week that you're on. So in this case, we're on Wednesday. We wouldn't want to uncheck that box because it'll cause an error in the system. Instead, if you did it on the wrong day and started the pattern on the wrong day, you're better off going ahead and canceling out of this reservation, starting on the day that you actually need it to start on, than to uncheck that box. Now, the range down here, you have two options for the range. You can either say end after a total amount of sessions, which might be 4, might be 5, or end after a particular date. In most cases, probably end by a particular date is going to be common because then you could just go in here and say, all right, he's going to rent to the end of April here, and we're going to go ahead and add those new occurrences. Anytime there is a conflict, maybe there was already something on this field, it is going to turn an orange color here, and you're going to need to resolve that conflict before you can actually put this on the calendar. It is also going to show at the top here, it's going to say conflict. And you would then, again, need to go ahead and resolve that conflict. In order to resolve it, you're going to say, all right, well, the 23rd, it's, spring break week. We're going to have something else going on that field. I want to go ahead and remove that from this pattern. You'll check the box off on the 23rd and you will click delete checked. It's removed the 23rd from the pattern and we can continue on. If maybe, let's say on the 26th of March, he doesn't need 3 to 5, instead he needs it an extra hour, we could go to modified checked and we could say, all right, he wants it until 6 o'clock on just this one rental. We could go ahead and preview those changes. We see that it's added the extra hour on only to that 326 one. It hasn't added it on to the 19th or 12th or any after. Once you've made any of those changes, you could go ahead and click search for existing client again. We'll type in the person's name. Again, we get into our template and we're going to say field rental. Now, this field rental doesn't start today. So we don't want the revenue date started today. We want it to start tomorrow because this rental actually starts tomorrow. So we're going to click the More Options button. And where it says revenue date is 3/11, we're going to go ahead and adjust it to 3/12. This way, his first payment won't be due until tomorrow. Now, in this section, you'll see that you can also apply coupon codes if your if your facility uses coupon codes. You could go ahead and apply that coupon code here. You can also give discounts if your facility allows for discounts. We're going to go ahead and add to cart, and we're going to see more. We're going to see here that it says single new invoice. We do have options of other invoices, and I will definitely walk you through and show you what the other invoices will look like later. But we're going to go ahead and click single new invoice. Here we see our field rental is showing up for $750, but maybe we don't want him to have to pay the $750 all up front. We can do a payment schedule that will allow him to pay for this rental over time. To do that, we're going to click Change next to Payments Due. We're going to click Generate Recurring. And we're going to say, okay, starting tomorrow, he's going to pay every week and he's going to pay for, maybe it's going to be 7 weeks, 7 payments, because each one will be a different week. We're going to go ahead and generate schedule. We see all of the payments due here. Now, the one on the 26th is going to be due, so the payment schedule will be a little bit off because we have gone ahead and said, all right, he isn't going to do that day. We might want to adjust this payment schedule appropriately, but for now, we'll go ahead and just say, let's save it. Now, the only amount that he's going to have to pay is that first payment today. So if we clicked add payment, we'll see that as of today, he only has to pay $107.14, or he can pay the full balance. To show you what it's going to look like when somebody doesn't apply a payment, I'm going to go ahead and not apply a payment to this invoice, and I'm going to click done. We see here that under our field rental, there is a $sign. The $sign is letting us know that this person is going to owe us a balance. They haven't applied a payment there like they were supposed to. All right, so I will pause for a moment. Does anyone have any questions about these true rentals so far? Okay, how does this reflect in accounts receivable if you are accepting deposits and not full payments? So the deposit would show up on the day that the payment was taken, so today. And then from there, if they paid the remaining balance on a future date, it's supposed to show on the day that they made the payment. And then if you have any more specific questions in regards to reconciling, we do have our support team available that could help you with going through how to do that. Okay. Awesome. All right, we're going to put one more reoccurring pattern here on the calendar so I could show you the other invoice options. So we're going to go ahead to our, baseball field at 3 o'clock. We're going to go rental again, choose field rental, choose our end time, put in our reoccurring pattern again. I'll just do daily this time, and we're going to end after a particular date. Today is the 11th. We're going to end it on Friday and click add new occurrences. Again, search for existing client. We're going to choose our template. All right, we have new invoice options here. The first option is going to be multiple new invoices. This is going to generate an invoice for each occurrence on the calendar. So the first invoice would be today, second invoice would be tomorrow, so on and so forth. Single new invoice is going to go ahead and list out all of those occurrences on the same invoice so that you're able to see everything all at once. It's going to already have that payment schedule ready to go for you. And then the date-based invoices is a way to generate invoices and bill long-term rentals, i.e. for reoccurring patterns, for their rentals in a set time frame. You could set it to monthly, you could set it to weekly, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say single new invoice, and we'll see that this invoice looks a little bit different. It already breaks down each day, and the payments over here, it already says that there are 3 payments due over a given period of time. Now, some people are probably wondering what changed. Why does it show up with these different invoice options instead where previously it showed us just one invoice with everything all together? I used a different rental rate that changed it from a per resource invoice to a per occurrence invoice. Now, this is something that's set up by managers, by admins. So if anybody on here has more questions as to the different invoice options, you can let us know and we can walk through that once we're done talking on the staff side. So we're going to go ahead and click done. And we see that our rental is here. Now, what if we wanted to combine these two rentals together? Maybe we didn't want them to be separated. The first thing that we have to do is we're going to have to pull this number here for the reservation. We're going to go ahead and enter into the other reservation on the calendar. And we are going to go ahead to merge reservations. We're going to enter in that number and click merge. It says it was successfully merged. Now, if we click on this rental, either one, and we go to linked reservations and we clear the filter, we can now see that there are 10 reservations all together, and we've merged them both together. We see baseball, we see softball, it's all together on the calendar. Okay. Now, what if we needed to remove a rental from the calendar? We don't want it anymore. We're going to go ahead and there's two ways of doing it. The first way is to click delete mode. You'll notice when you click it, it turns to a pink color. Now, if you're in any other view besides the day view, like you see here, you're not going to have a delete mode button. So definitely make sure that you are on the day mode in the easy view, so that way you can see the delete mode button. You're then going to go ahead and click on the rental you want to remove, and you see a menu pop open if it's a reoccurring pattern. Just this one deletes the one that you clicked on. Delete all deletes everything in the pattern. So right now we have 10 in this pattern, so it'll delete all 10. Delete today's would be if you clicked on a rental on today's date, you could remove just the ones for today's date. Any past would be any past today's date. Any future are going to be anything that is going to be in the future past today's date or forward from today's date. Custom will take you to a list and you can remove the ones from the list and close. I'm going to close this menu because I didn't mean to click on this. Your other way of deleting rentals on the calendar is to go ahead and click on it, go to linked reservations. Now, if you're deleting just the ones that you clicked on, then you don't need to clear the filter. If you're deleting more than just today's, you'll go over here and you'll click clear filter. You'll see your entire list here. You could go ahead and select whichever ones that you need to remove, and you'll click delete checked. They're going to show up red, and you could go ahead and click finish. It'll say, are you sure you want to delete it? You're going to say okay. And it has removed them from the calendar. Now, if you needed to remove one that somebody has already paid, the money is going to go back on the person's account to be used either towards another rental, another purchase in the software, or it can be refunded by a manager. If we click on this field rental, the other thing that is going to be in here is going to be the add more button. So this is just a single rental on today's date, but if we wanted to add more, maybe we say, all right, we're going to do a monthly pattern here, and we are going to end after 5 sessions. We're going to go ahead and click add new occurrences. You see that it puts the same rental on April, May, June, and July, and we can click finish. Now they are on a reoccurring balance here and be set to go. If I go ahead and delete this field rental, I'm then going to take you to the client's profile. And we see here, we only paid for the one rental. We see that there is money left on the account. And again, this can be used towards another purchase in the software. If we clicked, make payment, we'll see that it says now money on account. Or you could go and let a manager know this person needs a refund back on their credit card or however it is that they paid. I need you to refund them. As a default, the staff member does not have the permission to refund a credit card. Now that we have gone through all of true rentals, we now need to talk about how to do rentals as packages. One way to do rentals as packages is, again, to use that membership. So now that we're on this profile, we're going to go ahead and click Sell Membership. We're going to sell them our monthly cage rental. We see down at the bottom that it has a add-on package of unlimited cage rental. So we're going to go ahead and click Next. If there was a document that the person needed to accept, it would show up here for them to go ahead and accept before we got to the payment screen. We're going to go ahead and pay for our membership and click Pay. Now that we sold that membership, we can also see in the Packages tab that we have our Cage Rental Unlimited available for this client. So now we can go to the schedule and we could say, all right, maybe right now it's actually 3 p.m. and they're wanting to book immediately into a cage. A manager or a admin of some sort at your facility has already put the cage times on the calendar here for you. You will not need to add this pattern on here. It should already be here. Instead, you're going to say, all right, you want to hit in cage 1. We're going to go ahead and click cage rental on 1, and we're going to click register client. We're going to type in our client's name. We see that they already have a package available to them. So we're going to go ahead and just say this package over on the right. We then can click finish and it'll take us back out here. We see that it's turned a maroon color to let us know that this session is full. Nobody else can book into this session. But there's one more final step. We also need to mark attendance. By marking attendance, we're going to say that the package plan was used. So in the case of an unlimited package plan, they can use it as many times as they want. But if their membership only comes with, say, 5 cage rentals a month, then you definitely want to make sure you mark attendance. So that way their sessions are used each time that they book into a cage rental. So in this case, we have 2 ways of marking attendance. The first way is going to be through a check-in station. So if we click on the check-in station and a staff check-in, we will type in our client's name. We could scan a scan bar. We could scan their member ID number, whatever it may be, and click check-in. Here we see that the person has an active membership. We see that they have a 0 balance owed. We see that it's marked the attendance for us. We see that they have a package plan, and the software also gives us, hey, there's other times available for them within the next 3 to 4 hours that they could book another cage rental. So maybe our friend Mike here, he brought his son with him. He wants to hit in one cage and his son wants to hit in the other. From this screen, we could select the package and we could select another time for him to book into. Over here now we see that they've attended in both, and if we close this window and refresh our EZFacility account, we're going to see that Mike is booked into both of those cages at the same time with the same package. We see it strike through on the calendar there, letting us know that attendance has been taken. Now, I did tell you there are 2 ways to take attendance. Depending upon the permissions that your facility has set up for you, you may be able to click on a reservation and you may be able to mark attendance right here and letting them be attended. Not everyone has the permission to mark attendance manually, so this is something that your manager would have to give you access to. All staff members will have access to the check-in stations as long as you as a facility have it turned on. Now, some people have also probably noticed that there is a self check-in. Self check-in would be the clients checking themselves in on like a kiosk of some sort. It's a tablet, and they are just typing in their name. It's still going to mark the attendance for them. And then if you have the settings set up, it can give them the option to book into other cage rentals as well. Now, just like with our rentals, how do we remove someone out of a cage rental? If we click on it, it would normally say scheduled here, and we would say scheduled on both here. We can go ahead and click on the X, and it says, are you sure you want to remove this person? You're going to say yes. Now that person is removed, and that cage rental time is available for another person to book in with a package plan. So that is how it all works if you have a membership. But what if you needed to do a cage rental for somebody who doesn't have a membership? You're going to go ahead and book on the cage rental. You're going to click on it, register client. You'll type in a client's name. They have no packages available, so we need to sell them a package. Now you'll need to go ahead and make sure that you choose the right package. So here we have cage rental 1 hour, where they could go ahead and purchase just the one package plan. Or we also have the 5 pack of 1 hour cage rentals, that if somebody wanted to maybe purchase a 5 pack instead of just purchasing a single one, then they have the option. So you'll ask them, do you want to purchase 5, or would you like to purchase 1? We'll go ahead and say maybe they want to purchase the 5, and we see that it's $25 per session. So we'll click select. Now again, you could click finish and pay or finish. It takes you to the same screen. We're now on our invoice again. Our balance is 125. We could go ahead and say add a payment. If we needed to apply a coupon code, we have the option to apply a coupon code. I'm going to go ahead and pay for this person. We're going to go ahead and click done. It takes us back to the screen where over on the right-hand side, we're going to click this package. Now, if this is something that we're doing all at once, they're already here, we could go ahead and just mark them as attended right away if we have the permission to do that. Otherwise, the next step would be to open that check-in station and mark their attendance. So that is how you would use rentals as packages in order to book a client in, and how to remove them, how to sell it if they are new on the calendar, they don't have a membership. Now, we did decide that we do want to go ahead and show you, if it is your responsibility to put the availability on the calendar, how would you go about doing that? I'm going to select the dots for all 4 cages. I'm just going to put times from 1 to 3 here. So I'm going to click in at 1 o'clock. Reservation type here, I'm going to go ahead and change to cage rental. The alert pops up letting us know that the end time has changed to 1 hour. So that way, that's what our template says. So we can go ahead and change that. We're going to change this here to 3 p.m. From there, we're going to say we're going to put it on a 1 hour split so that we get one time from 1 to 2. We get another time from 2 to 3. Again, we can do the reoccurring pattern just like we did with the rental. I'm going to go ahead and do it daily. And I'm just going to go to the end of this week. I'm going to add new occurrences. We see all of our occurrences in here. There are no conflicts on the calendar. We're going to go ahead and save and finish. We'll see now we have our cage rentals filled in for the 1 to 2. And if we went to tomorrow, we'll see that it's there tomorrow as well. Now, as a facility, if you needed to be able to remove cage rentals from the calendar, you can also use the same method as we did with true rentals. We'll go ahead and click delete mode, click on the rentals. You get the same menu popping open where you can delete all of them. You can delete just any today's, past, future, or custom. So if I click custom, it takes us back to this menu, and I'm going to say, you know what? I need to go ahead and remove all of them that I just put on for March 12th. We're going to go ahead and finish. Okay. And we have removed them just from March 12th. If we move to the 13th, we'll see that they are still on the calendar on the 13th. And now we're able to put something else in the calendar at that time. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pause. Do we have any questions? Okay, so one of the questions was, what does enable speed register mean? So speed register means as long as the client has an appropriate package. So for instance, with our memberships, that we have that package plan attached, you will not have to select the package when registering. It just cuts out an additional step there. Okay. All right. So if there are any other questions, please do feel free to go ahead and either put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A. Our next session, we are going to plan to go into self-service so that your staff members are going to be able to go ahead and help their clients or help your clients when they call in and they're having issues with self-service. We're going to do a whole webinar on how to use it. I will again throw this slide up here. Anyone that might need our account management team, if you're a US client, please contact am@EZFacility.com. If you're a UK client, please contact Sean at seandollery@EZFacility.co.uk. And then, of course, we have our support team here that are always here to help you. Oh, how to combine two invoices into one. Sure, definitely. So the first thing is going to be if you have the permissions as a staff member, you're going to be able to choose to add it to an invoice directly when you're doing the rental. The other way, though, is going to be through clients. And I may have to switch profiles. This one may not have access to be able to combine invoices, but let me take a look here. So if we see we have invoice today, this one is for invoice number 422, and maybe we want to combine it with 421. We're going to go ahead and click edit on the invoice to open it up. We're going to go ahead and click on the pencil icon. Over here, it says invoice number 421. We're going to go ahead and click change. And I think we said we were going to combine that with 420. We're going to go ahead and click save. We see that there is nothing left in this invoice. However, most of the staff members don't have the permission to void the invoice, so you would still have to ask a manager to go ahead and void that invoice for you. But if we click done and go to invoices, all invoices, we're going to see on 420, if we open it up, that those field rentals are now combined for 312 and 314. So to show you one more time, if we go to our list of rentals, or excuse me, our list of invoices here, go to all invoices. Give it a moment to catch up with us. And let's say we want to combine 419 with 422. We're going to move 422 on to 419. We're going to click on the pencil on 422. We're going to click the pencil for the membership here. We're going to click change where it says invoice number, and we're going to change it to 419. We're going to click save and done. Once we do that, it's going to go ahead and take us back out. We're going to go to invoices, and we will see that we have 419. And if we open 422, nothing is going to be on it. Now, only a manager, as it currently is going to have permissions to go ahead and void that invoice. You're very welcome. Okay, well, I do want to thank everyone for joining this webinar. Definitely join our next one. It is going to be posted on that login screen that I showed you there in the beginning. Another section for events and webinars is going to be in the question mark. This is our knowledge base. So if you are going to be in our new version of our software, the new UI, what we've been working on today, you'll have that question mark available to you. You have access to all of our user guides, and up at the top, we have our events and webinars page where you could go ahead and sign up for any of our future webinars. This one is today's webinar, so don't register again. And you'll also find all of our archived webinars below. Another question on member discounted rental price. Sure, if you want to go ahead and put in that question, I do have a few more moments. We could go ahead and discuss that. Now, I will tell you there are with rentals, you can only make it so that everyone who has a membership has access to a members only rate. We do not currently have access to tiered memberships where one membership gets a certain discount, a different membership gets another discount, so on and so forth. The only way to do that would be coupon codes. So if you had a coupon code that you offered to, let's say, a bronze member, and a different code that you gave to a silver member, then you're unfortunately that's the only way of controlling it. There is nothing stopping a bronze member from giving a silver member their coupon or vice versa, but there's definitely a way in there to be able to give coupons out. Well, again, thank you everyone for joining. It's been great talking with you all, and I will see you again in April. Have a lovely rest of your day.